Good afternoon and welcome to RMU Live. Today is Monday, September 20th. I'm Julia Wozleski.
And I'm Aaron Fryer. Today is Monday. Here's what's happening now.
In some breaking news, the U.S. government is reopening the borders to fully vaccinated foreign visitors. The U.S. travel ban will be lifted in November to air travel. Passengers will have to show proof of vaccination and a negative COVID test within 3 days of arrival. We'll have more on COVID-19 later in the broadcast, but for now, here's some local news. Charges have finally been filed against Isaiah Hampton, a suspect in a baby shower shooting on Saturday, September 18th at 11:15 p.m. The 25-year-old Westmoreland County resident was charged with aggravated assault and reckless endangerment after a family argument broke out at a baby shower. Suspect allegedly pulled out a 9mm gun and opened fire on the crowd of 25 to 30 people. Although 3 people were injured, none of the injuries were life-threatening and all victims are expected to recover.
Denzel Kendrick, a 25-year-old Pittsburgh man, ran over a woman late Saturday night after a failed robbery. Responding to a report of a stabbing, the police arrived at the scene. Kendrick was apprehended after a police pursuit reaching speeds of 105 miles per hour. He was charged with aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, robbery, along with several other charges. He appeared before a judge Sunday morning.
A man was shot and killed by police on Saturday, September 18th around 8:45 p.m. during a Family Fun Day open house at the Moon Township Sportsmen's Association in Moon Township, Lawrence County. The man, identified as 34-year-old Newcastle resident Christopher E. Rush, allegedly stabbed 3 people, a 16-year-old boy, a 61-year-old man, and a 37-year-old Ohio man. Police were reportedly responding to a call about the stabbing and were shot at Rush after he allegedly began stabbing another officer. Investigations are still ongoing and being led by the Pennsylvania State Police Newcastle Criminal Investigation Unit.
On the 7100th block of Frankston Avenue in Homewood, a man was rushed to the hospital and is currently in critical condition. The event occurred at 8:20 a.m. Sunday morning. Police arrived only to find the victim with a gunshot wound to the chest. The investigation is ongoing as there are no suspect descriptions.
Gun violence that the U.S. has seen in decades. The Gun Violence Archive says that more than 14,500 people were killed from gun violence from January 1st through September 15th. That's about 1,300 more fatalities, a 9% hike from the same time frame in 2020. There has also been a 15% rise in mass shootings in 2021 compared to 2020. The GVA defines mass shootings as an incident where at least 4 people, not including the shooter, are killed or wounded by gunfire.
Many young people are still yet to receive COVID-19 vaccination. However, Pfizer says that could soon be changing. The company announced that their vaccine is effective for children aged 5 to 11. Pfizer says that they will be seeking authorization for that age group in the United States, Britain, and Europe. Pfizer said that they studied a lower dose of the vaccine in 2,200 elementary and school-age kids, and that they developed antibodies for the COVID-19 that matched the strength of those found in teenagers and young adults.
An FDA advisory panel has voted not to give Pfizer COVID-19 booster shots to the general population. While the FDA endorsed a booster for people ages 65 and older and people with high-risk conditions, they have not seen any proof of the safety of a booster shot for the rest of the American people. Although the Biden administration had planned to offer 3rd doses of both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to the population after 8 months of their second vaccine, the FDA voted against the boosters at a vote of 16-2. The UPMC Children's Hospital has set up a medical tent outside of their building to help expand their emergency department care capacity. The tent includes 5 intensive care beds and is reported to be a result of the increase in COVID-19 cases coming to UPMC's Allegheny Health Networks and Excella Health's emergency departments. Those networks have also reported a shortage of staff.
Since August 1st, 2021, there have been 80 positive COVID cases reported in RMU. There are currently 15 students and 8 employees in quarantine awaiting their test results. Currently, there are 17 students and 6 employees in isolation having tested positive for COVID-19. All members of the campus community must wear masks inside. Please remember to monitor for any symptoms so we can maintain a safe and healthy environment. The first phase of John Jay renovations wrapped up last Wednesday, signified by a ribbon-cutting ceremony. Upgrades include a 14,000 square foot expansion with 4 engineering laboratories, an interactive digital presentation collaborative space, a 3D printing space, and leadership and innovation suite. The second phase of renovations is scheduled to start May 2022 and wrap right before the fall semester begins.
RMU's annual Day of Giving will occur on September 21st in honor of the centennial anniversary of RMU. The university has set a goal of 1,000 donors for the event. The proceeds from this event can really benefit students and organizations on campus. So if you have the means, feel free to donate. If you are interested in donating, visit rmu.edu/dayofgiving for more information or to make your donation.
Recently, Robert Morris University moved up 9 places in U.S. News Best Colleges. Ranking, RMU also falls into the 50 best value schools of national universities at 48th place. Along with the higher rankings comes an improved retention rate and 6-year graduation rates. A contribution to the improvement appears to be a larger amount of classes under 20 students. RMU is also put among A+ school for B students and best colleges for veterans.
While we're on the topic of value, let's talk about the value of donating blood. Blood transfusions can save lives, and RMU has partnered with Vitalant to host another blood drive for RMU students. If you're in the mood to donate blood, head to the John Jay Gym on Wednesday, September 22nd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Students, faculty, and staff are all encouraged to donate, and walk-ins are welcome to participate.
On Tuesday, September 21st, there will be an in-person Career Fest hosted at the UPMC Center. The Career Fest will run from noon to 3 p.m. 75 employers will be participating, and it is a great opportunity to meet potential future employers. Students are able to register through Handshake.
The RMU Department of Athletics will host a memorial service for Joe Walton on Saturday, September 25th at Joel Walton Stadium. The service will take place after the home football game, home opener against Howard University on the field. The voice of the Colonials and Chris Chauvelin, among other guest speakers, will be present. Along with the field on the service, an additional service has been scheduled for Sunday, September 26th at 2 p.m. at the Riverview United Methodist Church in Beaver Falls, PA, in order for students to honor the former head coach. The service will be live streamed on the RMU Athletics YouTube channel. Speaking of Joe Walton Stadium, let's send it over to Sam Goldberg to give us the latest on RMU sports.
Sam, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. Well, a lot happened over the weekend in Colonial sports. Let's take a dive deep into what happened, from matches to schedule releases. Let's take a look at what happened. First to the pitch. As both soccer teams competed over the weekend, let's take a look at what the men's soccer team did first. So they took on Milwaukee at the Northern Athletic Complex. Milwaukee got off to a very hot start, scoring 2 goals early, and it would be a tough mountain to climb for the men's team to get back in the game. But however, they would buy a goal back late, as in the 87th minute, Tom Akinola would score. But however, the comeback would fall short as the Colonials would run out of time and lose the match 2-1. That brings their overall record to 1-5 and 1-1 in conference play. The women's team also took on Milwaukee at the Northern Athletic Complex, and they unfortunately were shut out. However, they did put up a great fight, but to their avail, they could not score any goals. That makes their overall record 4-5-1, and they are 0-1-1 in Horizon League play. Volleyball participated in the Mountaineer Invitational over the weekend, and the Colonials had a successful invitational at that. They did beat George Washington 3-0, but however, they did suffer 2 losses in the invitational, losing to Penn State and UMBC 3-0. That brings their overall record to 7-5, and they begin Horizon League play on the 24th of September. Finally, men's and women's basketball released their schedules over the weekend, and let's take a look at some notable matchups for both teams. For the women's side, They will be traveling to Miami to take on the Hurricanes, and finally they will on December 12th, and they will start Horizon League play against Green Bay at home on December the 3rd. The men's team will start off their schedule with UCF, and a little bit of history between this rivalry, Kentucky. If you're a Colonial fan, you know the history. Back in 2013, the Robert Morris University Colonials took down Kentucky at home, 59-57 back in 2013. Finally they will begin conference play against Green Bay at home. And that is all for sports, guys. I'll be back to talk about the Steelers and a shocking turn of events for Pitt football. Let's send it back to the desk. Guys?
Just because Walmart is starting selling candy corn does not mean that fall has quite arrived.
Let's send it over to Jackie Rasta to tell us if today brings us autumn air or summer heat. Jackie?
Thanks, guys. Let's look at today's forecast. Today is going to be a high of 82 degrees with a low of 57 and a 70% humidity and 10% chance of rain. Hourly forecast today is going to be sunny at 3 p.m. at 82 degrees. It's going to be clear at 6 p.m. at 79 degrees, and it's going to be clear again at 9 p.m. at 72 degrees. Tomorrow's forecast is going to be a high of 75 degrees with a low of 63, 69% humidity and 20% chance of rain. For this week, it's going to be perfect sweatshirt weather, with Wednesday being rainy at a high of 70 degrees and a low of 63 degrees. Thursday is also going to be rainy at a high of 61 degrees and a low of 48 degrees. Friday, it's going to be a lot better with some sun and clouds at a high of 66 degrees and a low of 46 degrees. Saturday, same thing, with a high of 68 degrees and a low of 46 degrees. And Sunday is going to be great with a lot of sun at a high of 64 degrees and a low of 48 degrees. Thanks, guys. Let's go back to the desk.
Coming up, a new candidate has stepped forward to take off in the next race for the Pennsylvania governor's seat.
And the FDA has rejected one of the boosters for COVID-19. Find out which one it is when we return.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
No, that's not right. How is it? Is it good?
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
On Monday, former U.S. Attorney Bill McSwain revealed his campaign for governor as a Republican candidate. Hailing from Philadelphia, McSwain is not well known in western Pennsylvania. Thus, he started his campaign at a cafe on the South Side. McSwain is a former Marine and a prosecutor, so he promises to crack down on crime while increasing police funding. McSwain will be running against 7 other Republicans in the primary that is 8 months away. Friday evening, Democrats in Pennsylvania State Senate sued in state court in order to block a Republican subpoena from gathering voter information to help with an investigation of the 2020 presidential election. The subpoena would have resulted in election records that have many revealing aspects of last year's voters. All 21 Senate Democrats agreed to this as the subpoena violates state law.
Democratic senators are calling for a 4th stimulus check in order to support families who are struggling financially due to COVID. Due to the economic inequities across the country, many Americans are advocating for stimulus checks in order to pay back their debts and provide for themselves and their families. Although people are strongly encouraging a 4th stimulus check, the possibility is unlikely due to the increase in vaccinations and an influx in savings due to the pandemic.
The United States recently took responsibility for a drone strike that was launched in Afghanistan and mistakenly claimed the lives of civilians. Here is what we know.
With the Pentagon conceding a drone strike last month in Kabul hit the wrong target, killing 10 civilians, including 7 children. General Kenneth McKenzie, chairman of U.S. Central Command, apologizing for the deadly misfire, striking an innocent aid worker and his family.
This strike was taken in the earnest belief that it would prevent an imminent threat to our forces and the evacuees at the airport. But it was a mistake, and I offer my sincere apology. As the combatant commander, I am fully responsible for this strike and its tragic outcome.
It was the last known missile fired by the U.S. in Afghanistan during the chaotic withdrawal of Americans and Afghan partners. Threats from ISIS-K were looming, and U.S. intelligence believed terrorists intended to use a white Toyota to attack the airport.
This was not a rushed strike. The strike cell deliberately followed and observed this vehicle and its occupants for 8 hours.
But a new Pentagon review, following an investigation by CNN and other media outlets, concluded it was a tragic mistake. An air of certainty in the days after the attack.
At this point, we think that the procedures were correctly followed and it was a righteous strike.
Now giving way to condolences, with General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, calling the deadly drone strike on civilians a horrible tragedy of war. President Biden initially hailed the drone strike as evidence the U.S. can confront threats from ISIS-K without having boots on the ground.
We've shown that capacity just in the last week. We struck ISIS-K remotely, days after they murdered 13 of our service members and dozens of innocent Afghans.
But that assessment turned out to be false, now raising questions about the drone strategy going forward and the U.S. capacity to strike ISIS-K terror targets.
The Taliban were also asked about their reaction to drone strike. Here's what they said.
Today, the Pentagon announced that it was a mistake, the drone strike at the airport that killed 10 people, 10 civilians. It was a mistake. What do you think about this admission of a mistake?
Unfortunately, the Pentagon has been making these mistakes for the last 20 years. It's not their first time making mistakes. Maybe it would be their last time. They have repeatedly targeted civilians under their operations in airstrikes in Afghanistan. It is great to see that they got the courage to confess the truth, but they didn't do so for the last 20 years. They targeted thousands of women, children, innocent civilians, and martyred them. We indeed condemn their last airstrike, and it is definite evidence that civilians got killed and got damaged.
Armstrong County, PA, after a fire on Sunday morning. 69-year-old Beverly Rummel was pronounced dead at the scene when firefighters came into the home. Her body was found inside the side door of her home of Dayton, Pennsylvania. The Armstrong County coroner arrived at 10:21 a.m. and determined no signs of foul play and heard death. The cause of the fire is still being investigated.
A woman was sent to the hospital after being struck by a vehicle. Officials say that a dispute broke out around 1:30 a.m. between the woman and a man and ended with the man hitting her with his car. The incident occurred in Glen Hazelwood on the 600 block of Johnston Avenue. Police do not have anyone in custody at the moment, but they do have the identity of the man. South Strabane Township Police are currently searching for John Ruthing, a 65-year-old man who went missing Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. He was last seen leaving his house in the Windsor Highlands neighborhood and is believed to be traveling on foot without his medication. Ruthing is 5'9" and 200 pounds. He was last seen wearing a Colonial Williamsburg shirt. Police are asking to call them with any information or sightings.
Coming up after the break, let's find out what led to a mess of lines at Heinz Field on Sunday.
And Kennywood has finally announced the winner of the Choose the Color contest. Stay tuned.
Doesn't see race. Love is love.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking,
Let's go.
You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes.
Make a plan today.
In an effort to create a paperless admission process for the first time ever, the Steelers have had their first ever paperless season. In order to ensure a smooth entry process for the game, ticket holders were sent an email with information regarding downloading their tickets ahead of time. Fans, however, said that even with the pre-downloaded tickets, things did not go as planned. People complained of the heat and discussed the long lines and crowds, but people cheered up once they got inside the stadium. Everyone was excited to be back at Heinz Field.
Now we're going to send it back to Sam for sports.
Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm back. Let's take a look at, we're past RMU now. We're going to expand our horizons to over the weekend on what happened in Pittsburgh sports. And, well, let's just say things didn't go so well for the Steelers on Sunday. It was a rough day for the offense as the Steelers could not get anything going. Big Ben had a rough day. Just didn't go well as he went 27 of 44 for 295 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. The Steelers moved to 1-1 on the season, and they will play the Cincinnati Bengals next week. Good news, though, from that game, however, the longest field goal was hit by Chris Boswell, 56 yards to be exact. It's a new record at Heinz Field. Well, that was the only positive thing, however, from the game because that offense, it's not there. I mean, Deontay Johnson has had himself good two games so far, but either than that, the offense has been struggling. And if the Steelers want to make some noise this season, they really got to start winning and getting the offense together. Moving on now to baseball, the Pirates took 2 of 3 from the Marlins over the weekend. However, the Pirates can somehow not get a sweep this season. It is incredible that they have played so many games this year and just haven't been able to sweep anybody. They've came close so many times, but yet they just can't get it done. And shockingly enough, Pitt football lost to Western Michigan University, which is really surprising because last week they beat Tennessee the previous weekend. Good news, though, Kenny Pickett passed Dan Marino in passing yards in his career during the game. That's pretty impressive to pass one of the all-time greats at quarterback in the NFL. Other than that, though, it was a kind of depressing weekend for sports in Pittsburgh, but I know it will cheer you up with some Emmys news. Let's send it back to the desk.
So now we're going to go over the Emmys and what happened with that. The 73rd annual Emmys were last night, and it was a night celebrated by all TV viewers. Ted Lasso dominated the comedy section, winning 4 awards at its first Emmys, including Outstanding Comedy Series. The Crown swept the drama section, winning all 7 and becoming the first show to win in all categories. With the Crown's victory comes a victory for Netflix, as it propelled one of its shows to the most prestigious award ceremony on television. Other highlighted winners include Hacks, The Queen's Gambit, and RuPaul's Drag Race. Although these were the highlights, all shows were honored through last night's event.
Kennywood Park's roller coaster, The Phantom's Revenge, is ready for a fresh coat of paint, and amusement park enthusiasts were encouraged to vote on the new color for the Pittsburgh's beloved roller coaster. Over 10,000 people voted on the new color and decided that the new coaster's paint job would be petrifying purple. And for enthusiasts wondering which roller coaster will be the next to change their terrifying twists and turns into different colors, Kennywood has revealed that the Thunderbolt is up next. Kennywood Park hosted its annual The Talk for Liver Health 5K event for the first time since COVID. The race functions as a charity event to fund care for treatments for people with liver disease. The event organizers were hoping to raise over $160,000 during the charity event. Runners were given free park admission in addition to helping raise money for the cause.
Sounds like jazz at Highmark Stadium as the Pittsburgh International Jazz Festival was this past weekend. The festival was presented by the August Wilson African American Cultural Center. There were many different performances over the weekend, stretching from Friday to Sunday. A mix of Wizarding fans came together to spread community and magic in a local park.
And Jackie Rasta will be back in our weather studio to give us the full look at this week's temperatures.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and fur.
I am totally a hat person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? My. Oh.
For our 5-day forecast, we're going to have 70-degree weather starting on Wednesday, and we're with a low of 63 degrees.
What's up, man?
That's all for us here at RMU Live.
For Jackie Rossa and Sam Goldberg, I'm Julia Wazaleski.
And I'm Aaron Fryer. We'll see you next week.